by the fact that he's losing rounds. He's thinking knockout all the time. Go.
Well, the body is what you got to do. So if he's moving to your right, you throw that right hook to get him to stop from going to the right.
Here we go. Bakole lands a floating left hook. It doesn't take much. Martin Bakole coming alive here. There were serious questions about whether he had this in him. The blood smearing across the face of Ajagba as his rode that chopping right hand pretty easy here. Ajagba is one of the better jabbers in the heavyweight division, so he's going to be comfortable keeping this fight from the outside.
No, we're going lazy. What we doing in the ropes? What we doing?
It's not unusual for Bakole to perhaps be content or not bothered by the fact that he's losing rounds. He's thinking knockout all the time. Go.
Well, the body is what you got to do. So if he's moving to your right, you throw that right hook to get him to stop from going to the right.
Here we go. Bakole lands a floating left hook. It doesn't take much. Martin Bakole coming alive here. There were serious questions about whether he had this in him. The blood smearing across the face of Ajagba as his corner. Round one underway. Two massive heavyweights here in Bakole and Ajagba. And you're right, Chris, that this feels like one of those, the winner moves on in the heavyweight bracket type fights.
So two red flags about Bakole. One is, how did he bounce back from that second round knockout? I know there was only one punch, there wasn't a lot of wear and tear, but this is a quick turnaround. The other is the weight. 299 pounds Martin Bakole tipped the scales at. Now that's less than the 310 he weighed for the last fight, but it's 15 pounds heavier than what he was against Jared Anderson, which was one of the best performances of his career.
We're going to see the effects of that last fight once he gets hit by that Ajagba right hand, which is his favorite punch. Big right hand, he stays at a distance, he sets it up behind a patient jab. That's how we're going to find out where Bakole's at in this stage of his career.
You know, Sergio, both these guys are uppercutters. They both are into throwing that uppercut. Ajagba will throw it with both hands. Bakole likes that rear uppercut. They love throwing that punch.
Don't uppercut with an uppercut. On the outside, it's all Ajagba, and that's where he should be. You know, behind that long jab, he has that leaner frame. They're both the same height, but you can see that the mass is with Bakole. So just touching him downstairs to that soft belly would open up a right hand over the top. But you have to be very patient, of course, very careful with a guy like Bakole.
Yeah, and of course, that's the formula, Chris, that Michael Hunter used to defeat Martin Bakole years ago, and Bakole's promoter, Ben Shalom, has talked about maybe orchestrating that rematch if Bakole can get the victory here tonight.
I get the sense that Bakole wants that rematch, take the blemish off his resume. I'm not so sure Ben Shalom wants that. He may have eyes for bigger and better things for Martin Bakole. But I go back to that fight against Jared Anderson, which started a little bit like this, with Jared Anderson just pawing at the body of Martin Bakole. Then the last 20 seconds, Martin Bakole lands a big punch and puts Anderson on the deck.
Yeah, Anderson got a little bit too confident and stayed still for a little bit too long. And that's what Ajagba is not doing. See, he's moving around the ring. He stayed a little bit against the ropes right there, but he has the distance, and he's keeping his range in between. As long as you don't get too close to Bakole, you're going to be all right.
Bakole just slowly trying to creep his way forward here, looking for an opening to unleash one of those shots, maybe one of those drive-by uppercuts.
Yeah, guys like that, you can just outpoint. You know, he's giving you rounds like this. You can just keep touching the body, keep jabbing upstairs, move to your left, move to your right. Just do not stand still in front of this guy. And I love the fact that he alternated the jab for a 3 right there. He led with a hook just to land that right hand.
Nice right hand there from Ajagba as we close round one. Rounds are the better for Ajagba as Bakole offers up a left hook there, caught by the right glove of Ajagba. Ajagba opening up a little bit here. There's a good right hand that landed right at the end of round 2. And Chris, as you pointed out, this isn't an unfamiliar pattern for Bakole fights where there's kind of a lull, it's very quiet, and then before you know it, there's a very large man shaking his hips in the middle of the ring because he just scored a knockout victory.
Yeah, it looked like Jared Anderson, first round, on his way to an easy 10-9 round. And Martin Bakole landed one of those kind of clubbing shots that changed the fight. He is one punch away from changing the dynamic.
Yeah, guys like Bakole, you can outbox, but you got to be smart enough to know that that's their strategy. You know, they're going to lose rounds to just set up the big punch, the big knockout. Ajagba should, you know, I'm sure he did his studying and knowing that this man, he's a silent killer. You know, he's one of these guys that just waits for that right shot, the power shot, and he sets it up with jabs like that. Long arms.
So very few fighters have so much power without really stepping into those punches. I mentioned George Foreman. I'd put Vitaly Klitschko on that list as well. He just gets such pop off what is largely an arm punch.
Ajagba corner asking for a few more feints here as Bakole picking up his activity here in the second round, at least relative to what he was doing in round 1. Starting to jab his way in, touching the body there of Ajagba. Nice long range right hand there, just grazes Ajagba.
It's funny, Corey, that we're looking at Ajagba as the boxer in this fight. Since Ajagba came up as a heavy-handed guy, scary guy with power in both hands.
And you'd have to think that Ajagba will have to really lean on that athleticism in this fight. If this fight is at distance, it's good news for Ajagba. And if that is what he needs, it's good news for Ajagba because his former strength and conditioning coach, who he was working with in Houston, Danny Arnold, who also trained Jadeveon Clowney, said that Ajagba compared favorably in athleticism to an NFL defensive back. That'll do it for round 2. Better round for Bakole.
Riyadh season shows and brought promoters together. You get real friendly real quick, Corey.
Well, these two certainly have not been friendly during the build-up to this one. EFE Ajagba and Martin Bakole. The tempo's starting to pick up, and Bakole starting to pick up the volume here in round 3.
Yeah, this is what I want to see from Bakole. He has to come forward. He can't let Ajagba keep picking him apart from the outside. Bakole needs to get on the inside, and the way to do that is breaking that distance with that jab, that long, strong jab.
Nice right hand over the top there from Ajagba. Bakole leaning back as he tries to jab to the body, but Ajagba found the antidote for that. Just bring that right hand over the top.
I would like to see Bakole just throw that right hand right to the chest of Ajagba. He's not going to hit the head right now. It's too early in the fight. Just aim at the chest or the shoulder of Ajagba.
Huge right hand there from Ajagba.
It's the same punch he's been landing. It's a 3-2. He comes in the front door with a 3 going around the right hand of Bakole.
He's catching Bakole, Sergio, leaning to the right, so he's able to throw that chopping right hand pretty easily.
No, he's forcing him to the right with that left hand. He's keeping him there just to guide that right hand down the pipe.
There it is again. That right hand seemed to wobble. Bakole was trying to fire back with left hooks, but Ajagba is cooking here in round 3.
Yep, at the outside, it's all Ajagba. The knees buckled from the big man right now.
And we asked questions if there were lingering effects from the knockout loss at the hands of Joseph Parker. And is that same kind of temple shot that seemed to affect him there?
If Bakole is not going to get on the inside and not really try to double and triple his way in, he's going to be at the end of those punches, and it's only going to be a matter of time until you get cracked again with that right hand.
Pull counter right hand there from Ajagba, who's corner right now, telling him don't get lazy. In other words, keep up the activity. You've got something going here.
Ajagba is one of the better jabbers in the heavyweight division, so he's going to be comfortable keeping this fight on the outside.
These are exchanges where Bakole can be dangerous, but it is Ajagba who is owning them at the moment.
No, these aren't exchanges, Corey. He's getting hit. He's getting pot-shotted by the sharper puncher in Ajagba. He moves off the ropes really nicely. He wants to stay off the ropes and keep the fight in the middle of the ring.
Good left hook there from Bakole.
Stop pulling so much and keep your hands up. Stay sharp.
Final 20 seconds of round 3. Bakole being given an opportunity here.
You come on, something.
This has been a fantastic round for EFE AJAGBA.
Check this out.
Chopping counter there from Ajagba with his back against the ropes. And that will do it for round 3.
Stay responsible. It's only a matter of time. Bakole can't keep taking right hands like that the entire fight.
I'll tell you though, Sergio, that was a good round for EFE AJAGBA, but I do think in the final 30 seconds, Martin Bakole started to close the gap a little bit. We'll see if that carries over in this round.
I think Ajagba gave him that gap. He was comfortable against the ropes, and I think he was picking them, catching and countering.
A different strategy here for Bakole, who's now framing up and just trying to muscle his way to the inside. I think realizing what you were pointing out there, Sergio, that trying to slip to his right, jab his way in, it wasn't quite working. This is better stuff for Bakole.
Yeah, he needs to move that upper body. He needs to get in and break that distance. He can't stay at that range.
All right, let's send it over to Claudia Trejos, who was in the corners between rounds. Claudia, what are you hearing?
Thank you, Corey. They were actually echoing what Chris was saying. Bakole's actually trying to smother the reach on Ajagba, and that's precisely what he wants to avoid. Stay away from the ropes, use your reach, use your movement, do not allow him to close the gap.
And this is the reason why Bakole popping the head back of Ajagba with a huge left hook a moment ago. And this is exactly what Bakole wants.
Yeah, because Ajagba's squared up. He's not at an angle. If he's squared up like that, it makes it easier for those left and right hooks to land.
Bakole's been stopped a couple of times, but I have more questions about the Ajagba chin, given the caliber of competition that's either knocked him down or wobbled him.
Ajagba looked a little unsteady as he was navigating his way back to the ropes here, now trying to fight his way off the ropes. But he's got a Colossus in front of him, trying to keep him there.
I mentioned Foreman. This is like a Foreman-esque vibe, too, to a fight like this, where you just, if you're Bakole, you're just taking punches until you can land one that changes the fight.
Ajagba trying to counter with right hands against the ropes. There is the signature shot there from Bakole, that uppercut, and once those start flowing, that's when things really start rolling for Bakole.
Yeah, that's a beautiful shot for such a big man. And once he starts throwing that uppercut to the body and picking him up to the head, that's when you know it's getting good to him.
Don't be lazy,
You don't see the movement from EFE AJAGBA that you saw for the first 3 rounds. A lot of laying on the ropes and in the corner.
Bakole, I love that right hand that just gutted Ajagba, breaking him in half.
Ajagba stationary in the corner. He's absorbing a lot of shots here, some of them on the arms. But those are heavy, heavy shots, just grinding Ajagba down.
And those shots, Sergio, the right hand is kind of that corkscrew right hand that Gennady Golovkin kind of made famous years ago, looking for that top of the temple shot.
Yeah, coming from top to bottom. If your opponent's not giving you an entrance, you got to go over the top.
It was a good response from Ajagba a moment ago. 4 straight punches down the pipe, but Bakole just keeps plowing forward.
You're being lazy in defense.
Round 5 underway, and there has been a major momentum shift in this one after a dominant round there for Martin Bakole. It looked like things are going well for EFE AJAGBA, but again, we talked about that familiar pattern in Martin Bakole fights, and it is showing itself once more.
Yeah, flashes of that Jared Anderson fight. You know, this is how Anderson started. Boxing, moving, getting confident with that jab, straight right hands. But Bakole was slowly eating him up, slowly inching that front foot in the front door just to land that big right hand and uppercut. And they're yelling at Ajagba not to get lazy. It's not really that he's getting lazy. It's that he's being backed up by a bigger man that's taking his punches.
It's also got to be really difficult for a 240-pound heavyweight to use the entirety of the ring for the course of a fight. Like, EFE AJAGBA is not a flyweight out there moving around. He's a big man. He's been being asked to work hard early in this fight.
Bakole just parking himself there against the ropes, taking a long time to load up that right hand, and this was the posture that was allowing Ajagba to have success in the first 3 rounds. Bakole corner asking him for head movements. Showing that right now, but it's only Ajagba offering up jabs at the moment.
Ajagba just barely missed that right hand. I think Bakole's getting a little bit lazy right now, trying to shoulder roll that right hand of Ajagba just to come back with his own, but I don't think he's quick enough to do that.
Yeah, he's looking to time Ajagba and land that counter right, but that's not really his game. His game is pressure.
I agree. And this is where Ajagba should take advantage of that. Just double and triple your way in, and then get to the side of Bakole and start ripping those left uppercuts. Double, triple up the left uppercuts when you're on the side of him, on the left side of Bakole.
It's also a curious decision to try to take the round off in a fight that, you know, you had a good performance in the 4th round, but you're probably losing it.
Yeah, especially after a round, Chris, where it looked like the snowball was turning into an avalanche a little bit. There was a scary moment for Ajagba, who just produced one there for Bakole with a beautiful pull counter right hand.
The big man bounced off the ropes to try to land a right hand, and it was Ajagba that rolled with it and got a bigger right hand.
Whose idea was to change game plans like that in the 5th round, but it was a bad one.
Yeah, momentum shifted right back to EFE.
An excellent fight and the right fight based on his opponent.
This bout is a majority draw.